Here now to weigh in on Biden's latest bonehead moves that are hurting our economic recovery even worse. Chief economist, global strategist, and founder of Schiff Gold, Peter Schiff, back on the program. Peter, nice to see you again. I don't know, which bonehead move do you want to start with? Capital gains tax, the biggest increase in 102 years? I mean, so break that down for folks. So you make $1 million, and in this day and age, hate to say this, that isn't that much money anymore. We used to think it was tons of money. And you bought a property and you flip it, or you bought some stocks and you flip it, or whatever. Now you're going to pay almost 40%? The government's going to take almost half of my...
Problem is, a lot of the capital gains are phantom gains because they're going to be inflation. You're not even going to have a gain, but you're going to have a tax bill. But the worst part about the capital gains tax is that Biden wants to impose a 25% tax on unrealized capital gains, which is definitely unconstitutional because it's not an income tax. Because if you haven't realized the gain, you have no income subject to tax under the 16th Amendment. It's a property tax. You're taxing property, and property taxes are direct taxes. They're still bound by the rule of apportionment. They're not exempted through the 16th Amendment, so it would be unconstitutional. But it would also be economically destructive to try to force people to pay taxes on income they haven't even received. They'd have to sell their assets. Imagine having to appraise your illiquid assets every year and then have to pay some kind of tax without having the liquidity to actually pay it. It would be an economic disaster if that were to be passed.
Yeah, this is insane. There's no way this gets through. I mean, you just said it. It's unconstitutional. The government can't take taxes on something I haven't earned. What kind of idiot proposes a tax like this?
Can't call it an income tax. Look, the states can levy a property tax because the states are not bound by the rule of apportionment of direct taxes. But the federal government can't do that. That's why we don't have a federal property tax. Believe me, if they could get away with it, they would. But you can't disguise a property tax as an income tax by claiming, well, we're only going to tax the appreciation of the property. It doesn't matter. You haven't sold it. There's no income, so you're taxing the property. But the other problem with the corporate tax hike, nobody seems to understand. Corporations don't really pay taxes. They collect taxes. When you're talking about taxing a corporation, you're taxing the shareholders, you're taxing the employees and the customers. So that's the American public. One way or another, all corporate taxes are paid by the public. So if you're raising the corporate tax, you're raising the taxes on their employees, their shareholders, and their customers. That's it.
Yeah, and like I said, what corporation, if you do that kind of massive hike, would want to ever expand or do anything?
That's why they're also trying to raise the exit taxes. They know people are going to try to leave the country if this kind of stuff actually passed. Now, of course, it's not going to pass. At least, we've got some Republicans with some sense in the House. So this is just red meat to the base, right? The socialists that dominate the base of the Democratic Party, they want to soak the rich. Remember, the only reason we have an income tax is because the government promised that it was only for the billionaires. It was for the Carnegies and the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts. And it was only 4% when it first started back in 1916. So the government lied to the public because as soon as they got the income tax passed, they started jacking up the rates. And then by the 1940s, they introduced the withholding tax. And the next thing you knew, everybody was paying the tax. So the same thing would happen. These taxes that are supposedly for the millionaires and the billionaires, that's just the camel's nose under the tent. Once you allow the nose in, the entire camel's coming in. It's just a pretense. Biden is going after the middle class because that's where the money is.
Yeah. Did you hear that, folks? And Peter is so right. I want everybody to think about this because I know a lot of folks out there are struggling and they don't have the income of millionaires. Trust me, I get it, folks. I'm not a millionaire. I don't make $1 million a year. I get it. I'm struggling with this economy too. So when you're out there and you're feeling really upset and you're pointing the finger at really rich people going, yeah, they need to pay more, you know that there's more of us in the middle class. And Peter's right. They will put those taxes on us eventually if you keep electing Democrats because there's more of us. We will add up to a bigger amount in the coffers than a handful of the 1% millionaire billionaires. But people don't get that because they just hear that and go, yeah, tax the rich, but we won't get it. You will.
Yeah, one thing's important, though. When you tax the rich, you're not taking away the money that they would spend on consumption. They have plenty of money to have a good time. You're taking away the money that they would have invested in growing the economy, producing products, creating jobs, so you actually shoot yourself in the foot. It's the middle class and the poor that suffer more when you raise taxes on the rich. They just don't realize that.
Yep. Great point. Put this headline up, guys, if you would. New poll says 70% of Americans believe the economy is going in the wrong direction. Let's hope that stays true through November. Do you think, Peter, folks are feeling this enough now across this country, even in blue states, to wake the hell up and say, maybe we need to try something different come November?
Yeah, the public usually gets it wrong, but here's an example where they get it right, because that's obvious. They know how their personal lives are doing. They're struggling. They're working 2 or 3 jobs to get the same income that they used to get from one job, yet they can't make ends meet. We got numbers today. The savings rate collapsed down to 3.2%. Inflation expectations rose. Spending went up, but not because people are buying more, but because they're paying more. That's why consumer confidence unexpectedly went down yet again. The voters know how bad this economy is because they're living in it. They're not buying media and the Democrats are trying to sell, or even Wall Street. Everybody is sugarcoating the economy. We're in a recession. It's actually stagflation. We have a weak economy and we have strong inflation. The worst of both worlds.
Yep. And the media and the Biden regime and Democrats keep trying to convince people it's going great. The economy's good. And thank goodness people are waking the hell up. Peter Schiff, as always, thank you, sir, for coming on. Appreciate you.